Inside alongside Royce Young, I'm Paris Lawson, and you'll notice that we have a very familiar face joining us here in Phoenix today, Chris Fisher, the voice of Thunder broadcasts. And Chris, immediately, I just want to get your takeaways from this series overall. Spotless performance by Oklahoma City, 4-0 sweep, and each game a little bit different, but what were your takeaways?
This looked like a very well-oiled machine that had been in the postseason really over the last 3 years and came in with a mission. When I'm watching the Thunder play, I'm seeing things that I saw all regular season on so many different levels on both ends of the floor, whether that's SGA's efficiency, guys getting to their spots, A.J. Mitchell driving to the cup, Cason Wallace making a play on defense, Alex Caruso doing what he does on both ends of the floor, the big-to-big lobs, all that kind of stuff. Like I felt like I was watching what I had been watching all regular season, and to take that up a notch in the postseason, to take that up and play at a whole nother level, Phoenix couldn't match it. As much as Phoenix tried, it was just too much OKC precision night after night. I mean, I don't know if you guys have mentioned this over the last two nights, but these two games here in Phoenix, the Suns didn't give them a push at all. Like, the Thunder controlled all 48 minutes. There was a little bit of noise there in the third quarter tonight, but the way that the Thunder were able to control all 4 games, that was one of the most impressive things to me.
Fish, I want to ask you about just this game forward. You mentioned it, just the way that the Thunder played throughout it. I thought this was the best game Phoenix probably played. Maybe some of that has to do with shot making. They shot the ball really well throughout it. But what did you see from OKC in this closeout environment of kind of battling against some of that shot making from Phoenix?
Well, the shot making really stood out early in the game, right? I mean, they were 8 out of 16, I think, early on. But we've seen this Thunder team understand how long a game goes, and like we've seen so many times, they're not going to probably stay at 50% over the course of the game. It slowed down in that second half. But the thing that the Thunder do well, and they did this a little bit in Game 3, was even when they found that deficit early on, is they just stick to their game.
Yeah.
You know this, Royce and Perry. Like, they stick to their game. They got a full 48 minutes. They're going to go out there and execute play after play, stand in the moment, as Mark Dagnall says. And so I don't think the threes, regardless of who was taking them for Phoenix, phased them at all. And it just felt like OKC was in control the entire night. They were up by double digits. Devin Booker, he was efficient. He was 50%. But it didn't feel like a Devin Booker game. It didn't feel like a Dylan Brooks game. There was nobody else that could step up and sort of pick up the scoring for Phoenix to ultimately give them enough momentum to get over the hump. So the three-point shooting, it was hot, but OKC's three-point shooting was just as hot, if not better, early in the game, and I thought that was a big part of it, too.
Yeah, the shot making was very even between both of these teams for a good amount of this night, but the defensive end of the floor, Royce, I want to get your opinion on this, because Devin Booker, he was relatively efficient by the end of the night, but only had 2 points at halftime, and a lot of that had to do with Lou Dort, Cason Wallace, and Alex Caruso.
There was a play in that first half that stood out to me where they were trying to kind of set a down screen for Devin Booker to get him free. And it was like Lou Dort running the route of a wide receiver. It's like Dort was almost the guy that you thought was the one trying to get open, because he was almost ahead of Devin Booker. I mean, Lou just does such a great job, and that's something he's done over the years, Fish, is it's not that he forces great offensive players into necessarily bad shooting nights, even though he sometimes does, but he often just kind of takes them out of their ability to get looks. And really what Phoenix did, you mentioned it, Fish, is they kind of were able to hang in the game because Colin Gillespie was hot. Some of those other guys were hot. So some of Booker's points kind of went to other places. But, I mean, Lou Dort, what did you see from him, Fish?
Offensive players want to feel comfortable. They want to be in rhythm. They want to get to their spots. And guys like Lou Dort and Alex Caruso and Cason Wallace, they make you uncomfortable. Whether that's being physical, whether that's giving you a little bit of nudge, whether that's getting up in your grill. If I was an offensive player, they're the last players I'd want to have to go up against on a nightly basis, because they just do a good job of being physical and getting you off of those spots. And you see that night after night. And then they've got the nuances. They got the knowledge of what you want to do. And it just throws you off. And I think that it's really hard to get into rhythm. And then you've got different guys going at you. So you let's say you figured out Cason Wallace. You're
Congratulations.
Like, okay, I've got Cason Wallace. But then it's Alex Caruso. And then you're like, okay, now I got to figure this out over the course of the game. And they might be playing something differently defensively, and then the next time it's Lou Dort. And that just makes it really difficult, particularly for perimeter players, to get to where they want to and to get into offensive rhythm.
Well, I was going to say even within a possession too.
True.
It's like the Thunder.
On one side of the screen, you've got Lou Dort.
Right.
On the other side,
And you go try to screen Lou Dort off of Devin Booker, and I say, all right, fine. Now you got Case. So, I mean, even within the possessions, the versatility of the Thunder just sticks out so much, Paris.
Well, you talked about the guys being comfortable offensively, and that's what offensive players want to do. Well, one guy that looked particularly comfortable in this matchup, Shai Gilgeous Alexander, despite the fact that the Phoenix Suns have thrown just about every trick you can throw at a player defensively. He finishes the night with another great performance, 30-plus point performance, and you can almost see him in the game just calculating what's happening, taking in all this information, and critically thinking of how to solve those problems in real time. It is a joy to watch. What did you take away from that?
It's interesting. I was sitting in the stands kind of as a fan over the course of the game. I had to go to the restroom in the third quarter, and I was just listening to their radio guy and just kind of hearing what he had to say, and he was talking about SGA and how efficient he is and how efficient that he's been, not only in the series but over the course of the regular season. And I just thought that was interesting because we see it every single night. We talk about it every single night and just how extraordinary he is and the type of season that he had and why he should be MVP and the efficiency that he's had. Not only tonight, he was 10 out of 17, 31 points, but over the course of the playoffs. But again, like I was saying, you see some of the things that we saw in the regular season, the double teams, the quick decisions, the quick passes. He had a beautiful pass to Cason Wallace right here at the end of the game as the Thunder were trying to put this thing away. Cason Wallace has a wide open look from three, and he knocks it down, and Phoenix has no chance. But those are the kind of plays that we've seen from SGA over the course of the season. And it's kind of pick your poison. How do you defend this Thunder team with so many options and with such a smart player like him when he can beat that double team play after play after play? I don't know what you do.
And what I'd add on to it as well is that, one of the things that I think is one of the underrated superpowers of SGA is we talked about it the other night, Paris, the timeliness in which he will hit shots. There was a moment in that second quarter where Phoenix kind of built a small lead, kind of like game 3 as well. Thunder called timeout. Coming out of that timeout, SGA just hits a three. And it's just one of those silencer type of threes on the road that just restabilizes the game. And he's just so good at that. And speaking of that, AJ Mitchell's done it 2 straight games early in the fourth quarter too, Chris. What have you seen from AJ kind of stepping into this elevated role?
For somebody who didn't play a full season last year and for somebody who's just in year number 2, I mean, he was plus 27 tonight, but you'd think that he had a lot more experience. He just looks like an experienced player out there, under control, comfortable with the ball in his hands. Not everybody is comfortable with the ball in his hands in a playoff game or with the game on the line. But I go back to early in the season. There was that double OT game against Indiana.
Great callback.
Do you remember that game?
Yeah.
And he was so big and clutch and important in the absence of Jalen Williams early in the season. And to see him come out in that game and just kind of establish himself of hey, look, my first year wasn't a fluke.
Yeah.
And I'm for real, and this is my game, and I'm going to take my game to a whole nother level. And then even though he had a couple injuries, we saw it every time he was on the floor. Just a stubborn, solid player. And, I mean, he played the part. He played the part in the playoffs. And that's just a really impressive performance for a guy who's just in his second year. Love watching him play. Love seeing the grit going to the rim. The intrepid drives time after time, but he can get off the ball as well. And I think he's just an unbelievable compliment to SGA.
That's a great callback. It's almost like you watched all the games.
Back-to-back double OT games, that's going to stick in your brain. But I remember after that game, Thunder head coach Mark Dagnall was asked about A.J. Mitchell, and everything we hear is always we're not surprised by what we see from him. Yes, he didn't play a full season last year, but he was on this track last season as well. The minutes that he played, he showed the same composure, the same poise, and now that he has the opportunity, you're just seeing it a little bit more on a bigger stage. And what impresses me is the bounce-back performance after not having a really good, efficient shooting night just 2 days ago in this building. and you come out and you're fearless yet again out here, and that takes a lot of courage to come out here and be just as efficient.
I had this same exact thought, Paris, and really didn't even get off to that great of a start offensively
Yeah.
either. Missed his first couple shots, and it was almost like once he saw that first one go down, he got into a quick rhythm. But I think that Chris, you were talking about it, just the fearlessness that he has as a young player. He does not look like a second-year guy. He's barely played a full complement of one NBA season now in terms of games. But, I mean, he was a two-way player last year to start the season.
Yeah.
And the way that he has just kind of built up his game. And one of the things I marveled at tonight, too, is in the NBA, you're playing against the best defensive players in the world. This Phoenix team is a really good defensive team. And A.J. Mitchell can get his shot off when he wants it. And to have that ability in key moments to be able to get to your spots and get to your shot, that's something that's difficult for any player, much less a second-year player.
Bill, there's so much to take away from this game, but quick, before we let you go, Chris, and we really appreciate you taking the time and joining us here. I love hearing your insights. Now, the Thunder turns the page. They've closed the chapter on the first round, and now you've got either LA or Houston, but you got some time off in between. I mean, what do you anticipate the Thunder wanting to take away from this series and take with them into the next one here?
Well, poise. I think that we've just seen so much poise from them in the playoffs, and this is now 12 straight first-round wins. When you think about New Orleans, Memphis, and Phoenix, that's 3 straight sweeps in 3 consecutive years. They've been in this situation. The team that they played last year, Denver, went 7 with the Clippers in the first round, if I remember correctly. They had a bunch of time off between that series. I don't know how long LA and Houston is going to go. I'm sure they're going to be watching intently. And that's got what, game 5? Game 5 coming up, because that's 3-1. And those two teams are very, very different. I think that we all know that Houston is a lot more defensive oriented, and the Lakers are much more offensive oriented. Either way, the Thunder, I know, will be ready come game 1, whenever that game starts. But I think that they'll be able to draw on their experience from the last 2 years, having won each first round matchup in a sweep.
Yeah, the beauty of just adding up these experiences, the Thunder, that has so much value for them, and it's certainly going to pay off here as they now close the chapter on the first round and head off to round 2 of these Western Conference playoffs. All right, Chris, thanks so much for joining us. This is such a treat. Oh, my gosh. All right, we are going to send you now over to the press room so you can hear from Thunder head coach Mark Daigneault.
Yep, thank you.
So many great takeaways just from that press conference alone from Thunder head coach Mark Daigneault. One player that got brought up that we didn't get a chance to talk about, it was actually 2 players, Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein, both guys finishing with 12 boards in this game. And there was a stretch, Royce, where I think Isaiah had like 5 rebounds in a row in the fourth quarter.
I thought Hart was awesome throughout this game, just dominated on the offensive glass. And I'd also say made his free throws. He went to the free throw line a number of times, and when he did miss one, he went right in and got his offensive rebound and got right back to the line to make up for it. So Hart was just the activity there. Again, we see the way that he connects the floor offensively so much. He's a great screener, so intelligent with the way that he'll flip the angles on his screens. It's just kind of that innate understanding of whoever the ball handler is. Isaiah Hartenstein is just one of the smartest players I've ever watched play basketball. And then along with it, you mentioned Chet Holmgren and the game that he had. He was aggressive on the offensive end. He was aggressive on the glass as well. Coach Mark was talking about it with the partnership there that's grown between Hart and Chet, that there was really no point where the Thunder kind of had to choose of like, all right, which big do we want on the floor? They were completely comfortable playing double big for wide stretches of this game, with Chet cross-matched onto Dillon Brooks for a lot of it. Did a great job in that matchup. And then anytime they tried to screen Chet off of him and Hart was on Dillon Brooks, Hart was comfortable in that matchup. So, again, it just speaks to the talent and capabilities of those 2 players.
And the value of continuity with this group, stacking experiences year over year. Those 2 guys now playing very seamlessly alongside each other on some of the biggest stages in the NBA. Very impressive and paid off big time as the Thunder picked up their 4th straight win against the Phoenix Suns, sweeping the group and now heading on to the Western Conference semifinals. All right.